Hey guys, Will Rich here, and I'm going to have to make this quick. MicroStrategy is one of the most indirect Bitcoin investment vehicles people are talking about. They're a stock that's poured billions of dollars into Bitcoin. And then you got other people saying, what if I buy ETFs? Or should I go directly to hold Bitcoin in my own wallet? And we're going to talk a little bit about that in this video. But again, I got to make this quick because we're making dinner. I got something on this barbecue right here, some barbecue chicken that we're going to be having. I'm trying this new diet here with whole foods only. So only thing I can see, not something that's processed with other things. It's just like today we're doing some quinoa with some chicken and some delicious, probably some beans and some other things, some delicious healthy food. So anyway, let's get into it. So when we look at what is not AMD stock, but MSTR is the ticker. A lot of people say, hey, Will, I see that MSTR looks almost like how Bitcoin looks. So if we just add it here, we can add it and click on it. So you're like, oh, it almost looks so similar to Bitcoin, and it's kind of correlated because they're one of the big buyers. If you look at MicroStrategy, um, on their Bitcoin holdings, okay, then you'll see that they are holding what is a couple, let's see, 450,000 Bitcoins they own. Now, that's just, they're right on track with it to be like BlackRock. They're right there next to, some of the biggest institutions that are buying into Bitcoin. Grayscale is another. And so some people say, all right, should I buy the companies that are buying Bitcoin or should I buy Bitcoin? And here's what I want to share with you that will kind of give you some clarity around the Bitcoin investment strategy that a lot of people think about here. So the first thing is, imagine that you are trying to invest in gold. Now, a lot of people say, I shouldn't buy the index fund of gold, which I could search up here. I could find a gold index fund here, NUGT. So basically that's a 2x fund. There's regular gold miners. There's also just buying gold to US dollars. But here's kind of the problem. When you buy gold, a lot of the reason why you buy gold is because unless you're trading it, you buy it because if something goes wrong in the economy and US dollars are not the way that people trade, or now people are more reliant, there's scarcity around things like food, and you need and dollars aren't seen as a tradable thing, then you have your gold, right? So a lot of people, they don't really invest in the index funds as much, and they choose to actually buy gold so they can have the gold, and that it's not based on an index fund. It's not based on a company that's managing the gold for you or having you hold an asset that's correlated with gold. No, they want to go buy the gold and hold on to it and have it in their safe, for example, so that they can hold that asset, and no matter what happens, they have that asset. And the same thing is kind of true with Bitcoin. So before you look at MSTR or even Cooler stock, which is a stock that has recently purchased $42 million in Bitcoin, they're a small cap stock that's in the space tech industry. But then like you look at all these companies that people are like, should I buy into them because they're holding a bunch of Bitcoin? And then you have to ask yourself, why do people buy Bitcoin? Well, a lot of the reason why is because it's decentralized. It is a store of value, and you can travel with it, but you can also hold it similar to gold. So what I'm saying here is if you buy an index fund or you buy even Bitcoin in your Robinhood wallet or on Coinbase, then you're actually still not holding the Bitcoin. And so what you want to do is you actually want to hold it in a wallet that is yours. And so if I go over to, for example, like top Bitcoin holders, there's this really important thing for you guys to realize, which is if we look at the top Bitcoin holders here, you can see that there's this key indicator that says, is it held for clients or is it an individual holder? Now, Satoshi is something that's not held for anyone else. But Coinbase, it's held for clients. They're the biggest holder of Bitcoin. You see that? They're holding it for clients. Binance, they're holding it for clients. BlackRock, they're holding it for clients. MicroStrategy, they're holding it for clients. So when you look at these, that's really important thing to do. There's a reason that's an indicator, because basically that means you're buying the digital gold, you're buying the Bitcoin, and it's yours, quote unquote, but it's not actually yours. It's being held by another third party. And so that's a really important thing to understand as someone that's getting introduced to Bitcoin. When you can, if you're really looking to hold it for the long term, you're not just trying to trade it, but you really like, yeah, I want to hold on to this for 15 years or more because it's this store of value. And I see building my wealth through crypto or Bitcoin as a way to do that. And I'd rather not have cash inflate, but I'd actually rather have something that appreciates more than cash. And you're thinking that way, then you're going to want it in a cold wallet. You're going to want it in a wallet that you hold personally. So you can do that a few ways. You could go to a wallet company. Sometimes that works. Some people use, for example, wallets like Kraken. Now that's another thing. You're using a company as their holder, their wallet holder. So one of the best things you could do is just search a cold wallet for Bitcoin or for crypto, and you can buy one of these wallets, okay? And you can store the Bitcoin on your wallet. So that's one thing I encourage people to do. There's a bunch of videos, there's 100 videos on it. I personally do this, and I think it's one of the best ways to do it. And the reason why is because you own it. The main thing to understand is that if one of these companies goes out of business or something, you don't actually get to your assets. A lot of these companies, they only insure assets up to 250,000 or 300,000, something like that. Okay, so let's get past that. Let's say that you're not worried about that. You don't need to you're not freaked out about any of these platforms going under. And you're saying, I just want to, own Bitcoin. What's the best way to do it? Should I buy an index fund? Should I buy Bitcoin directly? I would say if you want to invest in Bitcoin, one of the best things you could do is either buy Bitcoin directly here on like a place like Robinhood, or it's not fully directly like we just went over, but buy it on a platform, and that is your means of investing. The other way you could do it is, some people say, should I buy Bitcoin or should I buy Microstrategy? Well, Microstrategy is going to be more volatile. That's the whole thing. They take advantage of the volatility. And it's, I would say, more of a stock that you trade rather than buy and hold long term. I mean, you can buy and hold it long term, and it makes sense for those of you that believe that it's going to continue to grow as a company. But there's still the aspect, even like Michael Saylor, the CEO of MicroStrategy, actually tells people, hey, rather than buying MicroStrategy, actually buy Bitcoin. He actually says it himself. He would prefer that people bought Bitcoin rather than buy MicroStrategy, because his whole philosophy and why they invest in Bitcoin is simply because they don't want to have a currency that is getting inflated and controlled by a third party. And so when they look at the US dollar or the US government, they're saying they're spending it, they're printing it, they're irresponsible with it, or what have you, whatever the reasoning that they give. And so they say the dollar's going to inflate more, and Bitcoin would just rise in value as a result. And so for that reason, we're going to see it as if we hold money in cash, then that's going to be more risk than holding money in Bitcoin. That's actually how they see it. They're that bullish on Bitcoin. And so they're a company that's acquiring a lot, and they're kind of like, hey, we're going to rise, keep buying, and when you guys buy the stock, we'll sell our stock so that we can buy more Bitcoin as a company and just keep growing. It works, and it's working for them, and we trade the volatility, but that's a way that it's going to be highly volatile, and it's not going to be fully correlated. It's based on investor sentiment as opposed to actual supply and demand that you see on Bitcoin. Like, for example, Bitcoin surged back here early December to like 106,000. When you look at MSTR, yeah, right here in early December, it actually kind of peaked out and continued to sell off. Whereas Bitcoin, if you look at it, it didn't continue to sell off. It peaked out and then consolidated. And so the difference here is that they saw a lot of investors buy into their stock. So then they said, we're going to sell it, take that equity, and we're going to go buy more Bitcoin with it. That's basically how their business model works. So, it's like, it's kind of an interesting one. We like to trade it here and there, but that's why I'd say if you're a believer in Bitcoin, don't buy MicroStrategy. Go for something like buying Bitcoin directly, or if they have there's no fees for you to invest in multiple crypto assets and you're okay not owning it directly, go over to Grayscale. They have some new, it used to be just GBTC. That was their only one, but now they have one for for Ethereum. Okay. And then they got a mini trust, and they're introducing one for Solana soon as well. So keep that in mind. Right here, you could go and search if you're trying to invest only through your brokerage account. Otherwise, you could buy it directly, BTC, but you could also go to GBTC if you're trying to own that, the actual fund, not own it directly, but see the value swings. Before we had Bitcoin directly on platforms like Fidelity or Robinhood, you'd have to find ways to indirectly invest in it through the stock market, like buying assets like GBTC, which is that index fund that I just pointed out to you guys from Grayscale. And so that's kind of how it works. I would believe if you're long on Bitcoin, try and just get your hand on Bitcoin, get it in a cold wallet. Otherwise, if you're not too worried about the economy or anything, like if you're like investing with less than $100,000 or something like that, yeah, go ahead and just buy the index fund, or buy it directly on the platform. Don't maybe worry about the wallet as much. But I'd say even when the amounts are small, you should try and, treat it as if you have a lot of money. And so that's kind of how I'd say, even when the amounts are small, it matters just as much working on having a cold storage wallet or something like that. What do they say? It's like, it's not that it was so much that I lost when I lost that $1,000. It's that it was my last $1,000 or something like that, right? So if that's you and you don't have a lot, I would just anyway encourage you to go cold storage way, or buying directly and holding in a wallet. Phantom wallet's a good one. That's one I use too for digital storage. You can see I use that one. And so that's kind of the take on Bitcoin. Hopefully that helps for you guys wondering about investing in it. Do I think it's a good store of value? I mean, you could just ask the Federal Reserve. You could just say, Fed announces digital gold. Jerome Powell recently just said that he named Bitcoin digital gold after the price explosion. So, you got to think about it. Companies are seeing Bitcoin, not companies, the government, the biggest stores of value like the US dollar, are seeing it. It just passed silver in asset class, and it's on its way to surpass gold in market cap. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, for those of you guys that want to learn more about crypto, learn more about investing in the stock market, I encourage you guys, check out that second link down below, Stockmate. We go live every morning at market open, and we also have a ton of great resources for you guys to learn about investing. On top of that, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button. Do consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.